who we are. So essentially, we're a nonprofit company called Worthy Works, and our nonprofit includes several STEM and other courses and activities, mainly circling around coding and other tech-related areas. We take our knowledge and use it to show other kids out there that they can also have fun while they're at it. My name is Arnav. I will be hosting our AWS session. Sid and Devansh will not be teaching this time, but they will be teaching in future classes. Okay. So these are just some pictures of our previous events. This is a beach cleanup we did recently this summer. We also did an electronic waste drive around Edison. On my trip to India, I donated food to those to needy people. And I've been doing free online classes for more than 2 years. So that's just a bit of background about us. Now we can get into basically what the cloud is. So the cloud is a relatively new technology, if you guys don't know. And the most basic way to describe the cloud is a system of online servers that store on-demand data. So a server, if you don't know, can be thought of as like a powerful computer running a program which holds and manages data for multiple end users. And these users have access to and share the data from anywhere in the world as long as they have an internet connection. So a server is like a big machine, and then it's running different programs which help store and manage data efficiently and effectively so that your data is never lost. So there are multiple devices in the cloud that basically allow users to do multiple different things. The first and the most important is storage and data. So the cloud has multiple server sites across the country, which all have the ability to collect, store, and analyze any amount of data from anywhere in the world. This global infrastructure is known as region and availability zones. So we're actually going to be using AWS. So that's Amazon Web Services cloud technology. And Amazon Web Services is international, and they have availability zones everywhere in the world. So in case you don't know what an availability zone is, it's basically different server sites across the country. For us, our closest is US East Virginia. You always connect to the closest availability zone so that you have the lowest latency and low lag. It's Virginia, but that doesn't mean that our data is only backed up on that region. So there's also regions like Ohio, Atlanta, California. Our data is still backed up on these different servers. We're just accessing it from the Virginia one, basically because we want the fastest connection. Next is virtual desktop and software platform. So cloud computing companies such as Amazon Web Services host online software. The virtual desktops allow users to connect the software from any device they have with an internet connection. So one of the main benefits of the cloud is accessibility. Any device you have that has an internet connection is able to access the cloud. So it doesn't even have to be a powerful computer. It can even be a Chromebook. Depending on what operating system you're using, you might have limited access to different things you can do in the cloud, but you will always be able to access it and do basic things such as data storage. So the main benefit here is that you're using a server's power. In this case, this is Amazon server. You're using this server's power on your own machine. And your machine is acting kind of like a screen. It's just mirroring what's coming from the server. So you don't have to buy like a huge expensive PC. The power that you want can be hosted from a server, and then your screen and then keyboard, all that stuff is just accessing what's on the cloud. Next, we have applications. So cloud computing companies such as AWS offer multiple applications such as file storage, games, website creation, and blogs. So to give you a bit of insight, like for example, let's say you've made a progress in a game that you've downloaded. If this game, for example, is not backed up on some sort of cloud network, then if that game happens to be deleted, the device that it was installed on gets destroyed, anything happens, your data in that game is all gone. Your progress is gone. But when you have this data backed up on the cloud, like for example, game data, when you reinstall it on your new device, you will still have that data saved. So that's essentially what we're moving towards, a completely cloud-based like world. Next, we have our end user. End user is basically the person accessing the data in the cloud. So I'm an end user, you guys are all end users. Next, we have mobile desktop devices. Data in the cloud can be accessed by any mobile device or desktop computer as long as it has a stable internet connection. So this is the same thing as I mentioned earlier. So just the benefit of accessibility. As long as you have a connection, you can access the cloud. And as I mentioned earlier, a server is a computer running a program, managing user data, and access to a central resource or service in a network. So the cloud can launch a virtual server such as using a tool such as Amazon Instance EC2. We're actually going to be using this tool, Amazon Instance EC2. It's one of the most common things you use in AWS. Any project you do, most projects require this because this is basically the machine that you're running off of. And benefits of the cloud, I've already mentioned a lot, but as I said before, accessibility. The next one is basically efficiency. So applications can be added and tested quickly with only a few clicks, while all your data is simultaneously being synced and backed up. Also, anything you create in the cloud can be shared very easily to anywhere in the world. And the benefit with this is that you can actually associate permissions with different data that you want to share and that you don't. So your data is essentially backed up in the server, right? And you can choose which parts of your data you want accessible to the public, to specified people, and to yourself. So that's one of the main benefits of the cloud that other companies don't allow you to do. And another main benefit is security and your data being backed up. So the cloud automatically installs security updates and prevents data breaches to keep your information safe. So basically, let's say a server site such as US East Virginia gets destroyed. Something happens, all the servers shut down. Your data is still backed up on like Ohio, Atlanta, these different server sites. So it's not like all your data is gone. It's still accessible. So that's basically one of the important things that cloud does. On the other hand, like let's say you store data on your personal machine, such as your laptop, your desktop. If you store it within the personal storage there, if that machine happens to, it gets a virus, something happens to it, it breaks down, that data is gone. So that's why it's important to keep it backed up. So that's basically what the cloud is. Does anyone have any questions so far? Or does everyone have like a basic understanding? You could give me like a thumbs up or a yes or no in the chat.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, thank you. So I actually sent out the AWS account creation steps already. Just by a show of hands, who has the account created? You could just say like, I have it created in the chat. So Abhiram has it created in Karthik, right? Okay. Okay, all right, great. So it looks like everyone has the account created so far. I'll reshare my screen and now we can just dive into projects. So the first thing we're actually going to be doing is using the instance EC2. So as I mentioned earlier, that's basically accessing a resource in the server. So we're actually going to be starting a basic Windows machine, and we're going to be hosting it on a server in the cloud. Now keep in mind, since we're using free services in Amazon, it's not going to be a really powerful machine. It's just to basically show you guys how you can run something like this on the cloud. So what is an instance? So an instance is simply an online server created from an Amazon machine image on which you can configure apps and operating systems. We're going to be using Windows today. And then when we actually host our website later on, so that will be tomorrow and Monday, when we host our website, we're going to be using Amazon Linux because that has a lot more like different things you can do on it. So, but for now, we're going to be using Windows, and there are a wide variety of instances, and they each differ in terms of power, use case, and network capabilities. So there are three main types of instances. The first is a reserved instance, and this is a beneficial discount billing option that allows users and businesses to only pay for specified amounts of usage. So if you know how much data you're going to use and how many services you're going to use, you probably want to go for a reserved instance because you're only going to pay for what you're going to use. A dedicated host instance is a server dedicated for one person to utilize. Usually with other instances, you can share the data. You can share the instance with other people. Dedicated host is only for one person. And a spot instance are basically instances that use unused EC2 capacity and make it available for a cheaper price. So let's say there's one server, there are multiple people using its power, but there's still like a little bit left that nobody is paying for. Amazon can make this available to you for a cheap price, but sometimes it can become unstable because a lot of people might be using that machine and you're only paying for unused capacity. So it might become used at times. All right. Those are the types of instances. Now we're actually going to be launching our virtual machine. So what we're going to do is log into our AWS account. So just get to your home page. And just know that everything we do here is free, so you won't get charged. If you see any costs on my screen, that's just because I do things related to costs sometimes, but you won't be getting charged. So just let me know when you guys are in your console home, and then I'll move on. You could just put a thumbs up, raise your hand.
I'm in the home.
Yeah, I'm in the home.
All right. Chat. All right. So good. Now we're gonna go to EC2. So this is basically what allows us to access, power in the server. So the first thing we're gonna search for is EC2 over here, and we're gonna click EC2. All right. So you'll be brought to this page, a page looking similar to this.
Wait, EC2 or EC2 image builder?
What happened?
Wait, EC2 or EC2 image builder?
Just EC2. All right. So once you're on EC2, we're going to be launching an instance. You'll have a page similar to this. There should be a orange button that should say launch instance, and you're going to click this button and then click launch instance. So this is where you're going to set up all the different things for your instance. For now, it's going to be pretty basic. We're not going to have that much to set up since we're just starting a Windows machine. But when we create our server for the website on Linux, we're going to have a lot of different components. But for now, what you're going to do is create a name for your server. I'll just call it WorthyWorks server. You can name it whatever you'd like. So that's going to be my name. By default, Amazon Linux is selected. And then we're gonna select Windows. It should be here, Microsoft Windows. And then what should come under this free tier eligible is the Microsoft Windows Server 2019 base. So this is a 2019 Windows machine. This is what we're going to be running. So it should say free tier eligible. Make sure you have Windows clicked over here. Our instance type, we can leave this default as T2 micro. So in case you guys want to know the specifications, it has 1 CPU core, 1 gig of memory. It's not that much, but it's what Amazon offers to us for free. However, if we were paying for a lot more expensive like servers, then it would still be available to us, but at a much cheaper price than it would if we had to actually buy the machine ourselves. So we're going to leave our instance type as T2 micro. And next we have a key pair. A key pair is basically another form of security in AWS. It's something you have to download onto your computer so that you can host the server from your own machine. So what we're going to be doing is creating a new key pair. So you can click over here and say create new key pair. .pem should be selected by default. It should say for use with open with SSH. So make sure .pem is selected and then enter your key pair name. I'll just call it WorthyWorks key pair. Make sure there aren't any spaces. And then once you have your name and .pem selected, you can click create key pair. So this will download a file onto your computer. It should be in your downloads folder. So if I open my file explorer right now, and I go to my downloads, you can see over here, I have WorthyWorks keypair.pem. All right. So once you have that downloaded and you're able to locate it, just give me a thumbs up. All right. Are you good? All right, perfect. Just go through here, make sure I didn't miss anything. All right, that's perfect. We don't need to worry about security groups for now, because we'll be using that later. For storage, we can leave that default. Free tier offers 30 gigs of free storage, which is a lot for 1 year of being free. So you can leave everything else default, and then you can click launch instance. Oh yes, and I have to mention that this meeting has a 40-minute limit. If the meeting closes, just rejoin with the same link that you joined with. So you can click launch instance over here. This will configure your instance. It might take a while, it might not. And then once it's done, you can click view all instances. So as you can see over here, I have my instance type, T2 micro. This is what we selected. We have our availability zone as US East Virginia. We have our different IP addresses. So these are basically all the specifications of our instance. It might say pending over here. Mine has already started up and is running. Yours might say pending. When everyone's instance state is running, you can give me a thumbs up.
Wait, for security, it's supposed to just say allow RDP traffic from anywhere.
Yeah. All right, so Om is done. Just waiting on Karthik and Abhiraj. Devansh and Sid, you guys are good? All right. Karthik is done.
I couldn't find it.
You can share your screen and then I can help you out like that. Oh, you're good. You have it running. That's fine.
Oh, so where does it say it?
Like, say what?
The allow RDP traffic.
Oh no, that was just on Karthik's screen when he was creating the instance. That's
Okay.
not
Okay, got it.
I'll reshare. So now that our instance state is running, we can click on connect over here. There should be a connect button next to these different icons. Once you click connect, click RDP client. So RDP stands for remote desktop. So basically a remote desktop client, I can't click on it.
All grayed out.
You can't click on connect.
No, it's grayed out.
I couldn't hear you. Could you? It's grayed out. Oh, well, make sure you have this selected. Make sure you have your instance selected and then it should be, yeah. And then click connect. So then go to RDP client and we're gonna have our connection type. It should automatically be connect using RDP client. So this is remote desktop. So basically what this means is that we're using our own machine as a remote desktop to a server in AWS. And what we're gonna click now is download remote desktop file. So this is basically what we're gonna be using to access the Windows machine. So you can download this, like the key pair, this will download onto your computer in your downloads folder. It shouldn't take that long. It's a relatively small file. Once you have that downloaded, just give me a thumbs up. Okay. I'll be wrong. Okay. Om is good. And Karthik, are you good? All right, nice. So now that we have our file downloaded, we actually have to get a password to be able to access our machine. So you guys don't have to do this right now. I'm just showing you guys something. So if I actually go to my server and I click connect, it's going to ask me for a password.